You guys, you're gonna have to forgive that initial foobar. I've been running late, behind on CPT all day long. I was supposed to meet Charlene earlier today. I did like I barely got into the house right now. So I am your host, Leon Francis. This is Blackbeard Logic. I'm on with my good friend Dan Hager from Dan Hager TV. You can catch him on all of his social media. Well, I'll let you tell them where they can catch you.
Yeah, I'm on Dan Hager TV, and I am pretty new to podcasting and broadcasting and streaming, so I just have a few videos up, but I've got a couple little bangers out there, some fun little stuff, some Trump little clips that I think Leon enjoyed them at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, visit Dan Hager TV. I got the logo up on top of the TV there, too, or on my screen, so you can just see it up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I enjoy your content, man. I thought it'd be good to just kind of sit back and chop it up a little bit with a like-minded, bearded patriot. I like to find people with beards. Obviously, Charlene does not have a beard. So, and we're grateful for that. She's not one of those lefty, confused individuals, I'll say. But we're going to be talking about preparedness. Are you a survival guy? Are you like a preparedness guy?
I have been in the past. I've kind of fallen out of it a little bit, but I know a lot about it. Yeah.
So, Charlene and I go back a ways, man, like a ways. And Charlene and I, we would go out and talk to people about, being prepared for when the stuff hits the fan type scenario. And then she put me on to an acronym, the end of the world as we know it. I can't remember. It has a catchy little deal, but you'd be surprised at how many things. There's like 10 steps, and I'm going to have her go through those steps. I am proficient in pretty much all of them, save two that I don't see as relevant. She does, though, and she's much, much smarter than I am. So we're going to let her explain that, and you know that. You know Charlene. She's
It's been a while since I talked to her, but yeah, I've always been impressed with her political knowledge and canning. She did a lot of canning and cooking and all this kind of stuff, and I was always just impressed with her.
Oh yeah, in the IQ department, I'm not. I'm just nope. I'm tapping out. She comes by here and teaches my wife things with just little tweaks with canning and with preserving food and that sort of thing. Gardening. When I had the garden in when we lived in town, Enderlin, she gave me a bunch of good gardening tips, and I had a huge garden out there. Like it was massive. It was great. And now that we're out here, I cannot wait to start. Out there just plowing away, man. It's going to be great. And I'm also, if people know me, they know that I'm like a prepper guy. I'm like one of those crazy right-wing guys, that is prepared for the end of the world ahead, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be like the weather that we're having right now. When I headed out this morning from my driveway, it was 20 below. 20 below, guys. When it gets down to that temperature, things break. Power lines break, that sort of thing, and you want to be prepared for that. And I'm blessed enough, and I would say manic enough that in good times I'm buying preparedness gear. In bad times I'm buying preparedness gear. In times like this where it's just kind of even keel, I got a couple extra dollars, I'm sticking it into preparedness gear. That's everything from medical to ammo to gun parts and all of that stuff, because I want to be prepared when things happen. So that's going to be in the second hour with my good friend Charlene Nelson. In this first hour, it's just going to be me and Dan kind of chopping it up, talking about, the big stories of the week. I think I want to start in Minnesota. What do you think? Start in Minnesota?
Yeah, go ahead. Start in Minnesota.
All right.
Bring it up.
So, as you know, the liberals are all wee-weed up over, and Minnesota has a ton of stories coming out, and we're going to try to, kind of rapid fire through them. But The crux of one of the biggest stories is all of the ICE raids and all of the liberals with their hair on fire and all of the awfuls. That's those affluent white liberal women out there that are women, in my humble opinion, and some guys too, but I don't consider them guys. Those people are truly awful people. But when I see these people out there protesting, what I see is people who never had actual consequences for their actions in their lives. It's why they're shocked and appalled when ICE agents tackle them to the ground. Oh my God, how can you do that to her? Well, she actively impeded our investigation. She put her body in there in an enforcement effort with all of these alpha males that are trying to get the criminals off the street. What do you think is going to happen? If I run up on a cop when he's arresting someone and I go, hey, you can't do that, and I get in it, he's going to punch me in the face, and I expect it, you know? But these people, they apparently, it just went right over their heads that they could actually be arrested and detained. And then you could see the compliant media kind of glom onto it. And that part about this just it pisses me off so bad, because you don't have a country if you don't have laws, and you don't have a country if you don't have citizens that respect those laws. And what we see in Minnesota, and they're trying to bring it into North Dakota too a little bit. I saw a little, just a tiny bit of that kind of creeping over here. Granted, our paper of record is just enamored with this. Like the forum, every story by those chuckle nuts over there is all about the ICE protest and all of this and that. They're slapping babies, they're kicking grandmas, abuelitas are going to jail, and I mean it's just the way it's being spun. But all that's happening is the people that they're going in there to get. I did a Facebook post about this. The people that they're going in there to get, they've already had their due process. Not to mention, they already had a chance to self-deport like 2 million other people already have. Plus, they can self-deport, they get a free flight, they get between $1,100 and $3,000. I think the $3,000 was back during the holidays. We're going to give you a Christmas bonus just to go home, just to self-deport using that crappy app that Biden, made infamous. I think now Christy Nome upped it from whatever it was to like $2,600 or something like that, which is a ton of money when you're going back to a crap hole country anyway. But so the people that they're going to get, a judge has already said these people have to go. They're not in the country legally. Go in and get them. That's all they're doing. And these people are high on the criminal element level. These aren't babysitters. Despite what the mainstream media wants to tell you. They're not the cream of the crop. Like Trump said, they're not sending us their best people. We are getting rid of those people now, and liberals are all wee-weed up about it. I don't understand it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the lack of morality. I think we have a soulless society in a lot of places. These people were raised with no morals, no ethics. And they go out there and do all this stuff. They're almost like possessed by demons, in my opinion. And they went and raided that church.
Some of them. Some of them look like they're possessed by demons.
And they don't realize, we had that conversation on playing the devil's advocate, right?
Yep.
They cannot do that. They physically cannot take the opposite conversation and apply it to themselves in order to learn. If they would play the devil's advocate, they would look at those police officers and say, man, he's stressed out. Look at all this pressure we're putting on him. Look at all this. Sure, they're going to be anxious. They got all this going on. People blowing whistles, honking horns, doing this, arresting the violent criminals. All this on top of, the protesters throwing frozen water bottles at them, paint guns, whatever they're doing, setting fires here and there, raiding churches, like Don Lemon and all them guys.
Yeah.
And it's a lack of morals and lack of basic ethics.
And I also see, like, it's not lost on me that Democrats stirred this up because that is a huge voter block that Trump is getting rid of. Like, it cannot be overstated enough the fact that they imported a ton of people into states like Minnesota, especially into urban centers like Minneapolis, because they love that whole grift that is the voter turnout, the pipeline from illegal immigrant to legal voter status. They love that. The fact that they can vouch for 8 people, up to 8 people. Like, think of that. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
It's insane.
Yeah, and
You know,
so Trump is in there, and he's like, yeah. So this whole ballot crap that you guys are trying to pull, for the next election and for whatever elections that you guys have already run this grift on. Not to mention the $19 billion you allowed these people to steal from us. And trust me, some higher ups are wow. That got really crispy for a second. Some higher ups really have their finger in that pie. I believe that. I believe Keith Ellison. I believe Walls. I believe Ilhan Omar, and probably a lot of down ballot candidates also get a lot of kickbacks from those guys. That's a lot of money, and Trump is in there disrupting that. So of course, they're not going to want Trump to do that, and they just rolled out their mob. One of the things that upset me so much about this is, like, I remember when the whole January 6th thing happened, and the way our federal government mobilized against all those guys and gals. Most of, like, you see the video, not the video that they pushed out as basically a made for TV propaganda piece, not that. See all of the other video where they're opening the doors, the cops are opening the doors, they're letting people in, the people are walking through. You see the dude with the bison hat on. You remember that guy? I forget his name.
yeah.
You hear him saying, "All right, guys, we're going to do this peacefully. We respect these guys. These guys are being nice." And he's talking about the cops, and the cops are around them. I'm kind of just letting them do whatever they're doing, and they're not being violent or anything. And then they brought the full weight of our federal government down on every single person that not just was in the building, but was in the area. I saw this. I saw this happen to kids who were not yet 18 when that happened, but turned 18. They came and interviewed them also. They went all the way out to Hawaii and Alaska and different places just to grab grandmas and bring them in. So one of the things that upset me is the fact that it seems to me that these people are doing a ton. They're doing a lot, and I'm not seeing that level of us going after them. I'm not seeing the mugshots and the perp. Yeah, the 3 people that they got going into the church. That's great, Cash Patel. But what I want to see is, when I'm looking at all of that rioting, when I'm looking at what they did to Nick Shirley and Nick Soder, when I look at how they're treating these ICE officers getting hit in the head with, like you said, the ice bottles, and actually one ICE officer had to use his firearm because he was attempting to arrest a violent criminal, and 2 other people came out of the apartment complex and started beating him with shovels and broomsticks. Like, what I want to see is those guys being perp walked. That's what I want to see. I want to see a lot more action on that, because to me, and if this is my perception, guaranteed these protesters, this is their perception. To me, it seems like we are soft when it comes to holding these people accountable, which emboldens them, which puts ICE agents in danger, in my humble opinion. And I'm gonna digress and let you speak on it for a second or two.
Well, I'm in favor of public hangings. When it comes down to it, like you said, people need to see justice. And criminals need to see justice too. They can be deterred by a public hanging, Oh, okay. I've got the chat popping up on my screen. It was new to me here. So, yeah.
Good
What was
evening,
I saying?
guys.
No,
Yeah, no.
but
So, and I didn't tell you this. So, I have the ability to, and I just did this now, but I have the ability to not just see the text and comments as they come in, but to also have them visible on the screen. So you'll see that, off to your. Well, it's to my right. So, maybe it's to
yeah,
your right.
it's fine. I can plain. I can see it plain as day now. Yeah, but
Okay.
just wasn't expecting that. And like, yeah, yeah. So when people they need to see justice done, they don't. What I don't want to happen is to have it glorified. The left lives off of that because they want to see the power play. They want to see the bloodlust. That's what they thrive. They want that reaction from us, you know, to be in fear. But I don't want to show fear. I want to show calm resolve
Yep.
and justice and punishment. But I don't want it glorified. I just want it exampled. You know, we can't live for the bloodlust aspect of it. We can't do that. We can't be them because we turn into them. We
But
have to, you know.
But and I take your point, and it's a good point. But what I do believe in also is overwhelming force. What I
Oh yeah,
believe will shut down a lot of these protesters. It won't be pretty on TV, and I'll give you that. I'll grant you that it will not be pretty. But what should happen, and again, the reason I'm not a cop or a mayor or anything like that is because I'd be out there with my guys, I'd be armed up, and we'd be cracking heads. I mean, just old school style head cracking. And that would make these people think twice. Like, I saw some fat slob out there with his AR slung across his chest.
oh
No,
yeah.
no way he could shoulder that thing because he had the strap pulled too tight. It wouldn't get under his left chesticle. But
He had a nickname, some Gravy or something. I can't remember.
yeah,
They were naming these guys like the Gravy Mafia. I can't remember, but
I and this is Minnesota. Like, I remember when they shot the guy in the car because he showed the officer, "Hey, I have a firearm here," and they shot him in the face. I remember that. So, how is this guy standing in the middle of an enforcement effort with his ARs? And again, it's in the low ready, but yeah, that's still a threat. That's still a threat. That guy should have
right.
been taken down. And
Yeah.
and again, what I want to see is, and Mayor Frey is not going to help. They've already said that, and I love the press conference when he's standing there and he's just giving ICE agents the blues, and the chief of police is standing behind him, and his eyebrow goes up, but he's like, "Wait a minute, what are you talking about?"
Well, I got to push back on your point real quick here. One thing about why he probably hasn't been arrested for that is, for one thing, the ICE doesn't have the people, and if the people start rioting and stuff like that, the guy is technically has his Second Amendment rights to do that, you know, and he's
Yeah,
in the
but
public.
In Minnesota, do they have open carry in Minnesota?
You know, I don't know, but they should. I
Yeah.
mean, like us,
Oh, I
everybody
agree.
should. You
I
know,
agree.
but they don't have the people to do this. Now, if it was a larger force, definitely, but they want to go in there, do their jobs. They don't have time to mess around unless they're being messed with. If
Yeah.
that guy was messing with them, they would have took him down. But they don't have the people to do that right now. They just get in and do their jobs. They don't want to stop,
Yeah.
do this, wait for other protesters to run up and gather around them. No, they just want to go and do what they want to do. So that may be one reason, but
And to their credit, they have been changing their tactics. They have been using a lot of decoy, ICE operations, so they're clear. They've also started going out earlier in the morning because these protesters are potheads and slovenly, as we can obviously see. So they don't get up that early.
something funny I saw today was JD Vance. There was all these college students standing around protesting, waiting for him to come out of his hotel, and he's already back in DC. It was 15 degrees outside.
I
They're
saw
all
that.
freezing to death.
See, now is the time you need a water cannon. just to go by and spray those idiots down and watch them try to walk those icicles off. So Josh says the fat guy with the AR, if you look at it, didn't have an injection port. Maybe it was just a mock. Again, I could not picture. I cannot. And I remember when BLM was coming to Fargo. And they were going to do that stupid protest. And I went to Rick's Bar. And I don't know if you know what Rick's Bar is. I posted it on my Facebook post that I'm sick of this crap. I'm arming up. I'm going downtown. I'm protecting businesses. And I got a bunch of people, a bunch of patriots said, hey, don't do that yet. Come to Rick's Bar. So I went to Rick's Bar, met a bunch of patriots up there, and we were going to go out. Luckily, a officer, I'm not going to say his name, who also followed me, came into the bar and was like, hey, guys. So, but I could imagine if I came out there, and we're in North Dakota, so I can open carry. But the fact that you have this heated, tense moment here would kind of, common sense would say, yeah, maybe that's not a good idea. And I would think that, like, if I was standing out there, middle of Broadway with my AR slung across my chest, cops would have a wary eye on me, and they would not only have an eye on me, they probably have a body or two on me. That you can't have that in that tense a situation. Give somebody a rap on the bean, and you'll get a little respect around here. 100%, man. Looked like an airsoft rifle. Yeah, I thought so. Looking at that thing, I thought it did. But again, if in the heat of the moment, and you got all this chaos around you, I don't care if it is an airsoft rifle. If I don't see that orange tip on it, you might be getting some hot lead in your Levi's. I'm just saying.
Hey, you know what? They might glue an orange tip on a real gun too. You don't know. Yeah, I mean, these people are nuts. They might just pull that tactic.
They're not only nuts, they're dishonest. Like, just completely. My wife, God love her, I think it was yesterday, she's like, oh, did you see they detained this little 5-year-old boy? Oh, my God, this and that. And I'm like, wait, what? But that wasn't the case. What happened is they got the guy. The guy had his kid with him. And this is why you never take mainstream media at face value, ever. You never do that. But they detained the guy, and they asked the guy. They were like, hey, anybody around that can, take the kid or whatever. The mom didn't want to take the kid. I don't know if maybe she thought, and I've heard this. I don't know if it's true, but maybe she thought that if she opened the door, they were going to take her too. But from what I could hear from Bavino, he said that basically they told her, "Hey, he could stay with you, and we're not gonna do anything else. We're here for this guy." And for whatever reason, she didn't want to do that. So they took the kid to McDonald's, the ICE agents. They took him to McDonald's, calmed him down, played some music for him, waited for someone to come and pick the kid up and all of that. But it was completely spun in the media as a completely different thing. And again, if I see ICE agents rounding up 5-year-olds, I'm like, wait a minute, guys, what the hell are you doing now? But you have to think that every single thing that we see coming through the mainstream media is a lie. And I told my wife this. I told her one of the reasons why, and I used to watch like MSNBC just, so I can see how idiotic those guys were and, make posts about it and all. I don't even do that anymore because they are very, very convincing in their propaganda. And if you're not double and triple checking, by the time the truth comes out, you're already a hot mess, man. And you can see that with all of the protests and everything. And I've talked a lot, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You can keep talking. Relaxing.
Okay. Looked like an airsoft rifle. Give somebody back at with the. Okay, I think I got all of those. But
I did want to say one thing. When the officers went to take that child to the mothers, They let him out of the vehicle first, and he walked up to the door, and the mother wouldn't let him in the building,
Yep.
wouldn't let him in the house. He was standing out there in the cold. She
Yep.
wouldn't even open the door for him.
And I
So,
wonder if someone
you
didn't
know,
tell her to do that. I'm wondering because they
you
wanted
know,
the optics. You know,
or maybe she was inside with a couple gangbangers doing, meth or something. Who knows? Maybe she didn't want to open the door. I
that
mean,
that
who
that
knows?
that Hmong guy or that Chinese guy that they were all wee weed up about. The fact of the matter is that guy was not a good guy. I mean, he wasn't the guy they were going after. And had he just cooperated, like, hey, yeah, these guys don't live here, they moved out, whatever the case may. But no, he made it a point to resist these guys, and they are looking for a child molester and I think a murderer. This guy and some of these people have murder convictions back in their own country, and then they came here. So if you cooperate with the ICE enforcement agent and they're looking for bad guys, what are you doing?
I tell you
What
what,
are you doing?
it makes sense to me and you, but you cannot reason with these people. They don't understand logic. All they understand is emotion and their emotion. They're a very selfishly emotional people. They can't understand logic. You can explain it, you can draw it out, you can have a judge tell them, you can have God tell them, and they're just going to sit there. No, that's not the case. I got purple hair and a scepter ring, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. Oh, I can't stand those people, man.
Oh man.
I was also like those idiots that went into that church. Like they're lucky. I mean, they're like at my church. I sit right in the back so I could see the door. I know that there are other guys in there also who are armed. And you ask my wife, I'd much rather be sitting way up front row, getting all that Holy Spirit, man. I would prefer that. But I also understand that my role there is to keep idiots like that from doing things like that. And again, had that been my church, we'd have laid hands on those people very early. Only a couple of them might have gotten through the door. But I brought that story up to say this. Like, you see Don Lemon, and you see him go in there with all that bluster and bravado and shoving that camera in people's faces and First Amendment this and First Amendment that, getting all of that wrong. Nothing that he said was correct.
Right.
And then you see them after they're being those Black Lives Matters idiots, hands up, don't shoot, or whatever the heck they were chanting in there. And then once justice finds them, they're crying. Like the that weird guy with the beard and what's his name, the poor farmer or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. He one day he's on his stream going, if you want to come and get me, come get me. The next day he's crying because they actually came and got him. They do not believe that they're going to be held accountable. Don Lemon, in particular, Pam Bondi tried to get the magistrate to sign the warrant to pick him up, and this magistrate, who is tied to what's his name, their AG in Minnesota, Keith Ellison, refused to sign it. So Don Lemon committed the criminal act, the felony of doing the exact same thing those other three people did, yet he, I guess, has enough name recognition to defeat the warrant. That's a mind.
Now, it might still be coming, but it might be a more of a crime because he's the one that organized that. He's the one that put that together. So
yeah,
he's the ringleader. So it might be an upscaled. They might have their own separate thing, and then he might be here.
Yeah, he's saying he didn't. He's like, hey, I just came. I was just a reporter on the scene, and I know for a fact that a ton of people, a ton of reporters at J6, they got wrapped up. They had all of their rights nullified. They basically sat in solitary confinement with all these idiots, taking away their basic civil rights just because they dared question. Like, and again, I look at the liberals. I know they're evil. I know they are idiotic. They don't have common sense. The critical thinking is gone. But the one thing that you have to admire, they put the fear of God into all those people, into everybody. I mean, they had social media and the media, everybody censoring everyone. They censored Donald Trump, the president. They censored him. They spliced together video. They impeached him a couple of times. They tried to shoot him in the face a couple of times. Like, these people, they don't care. And we are the ones that go in there with kid gloves, in my humble opinion. And after this break, that's a good segue into what I want to talk about next, and that's the Minnesota race, Senate race. And like, they have this new girl in there now. What's her name? Michelle Tafoya, and that's who everybody is glomming on to. And I want to take a step back after this break and break that down, because I think even that is a microcosm of a problem that we have on the right. So, BlackBeardLogic, Guns in the 701 Network. My name is Leon Francis. This is Dan Hager from Dan Hager TV. We will be right back right after this break.
Hey, it's Leon Francis from BlackBeardLogic on the Guns in the 701 Network. I'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon, Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
Flower Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake.
Make no mistake.
Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Come on, no.
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Let's get it indeed, guys.
All
Welcome.
right.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for all the guys that are tuned in, and gals, guys and gals that are tuned in, watching this little show of mine. BlackBeardLogic. I'm your host, Leon Francis. I gotta do something about the lighting in here. I'm looking at me here, and I'm seeing a lot of shadows and everything. This new studio setup, I was in the bunker for the longest time, and then my wife was like, "Why don't you come out of the bunker, man?" So I created this space. I haven't gotten the lighting quite right yet, so you guys just bear with me for just a little bit. Again, I kind of want to stay in Minnesota for just maybe another second, and I did create a post on this. Now, as you guys probably already know, I am a big fan of Royce White. I think he's great. I think that he is exactly what Republicans need. I think that we have been so soft for so long. He is like a Trump figure, a Trump-like figure, an America First figure, for Minnesota. I think one of the reasons why Trump and Pete Hegseth are so great at what they're doing and have so much support behind them is they're bringing that alpha masculinity back in prominence. Like for so long, we had to sit there, and I know I am one of those guys that had to sit there and watch as we had that our what was it the dude who wore a dress and he was like the head of whatever health or something or another.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, this is not reality. What are we doing here? I'm watching the videos of our recruitment videos, and there's some guy and you think, okay, this is going to be all right, and then he shakes his head and he's in full drag and you're like, wait, what is going on here? And then finally, we get the grown-ups are back in charge. All of that craziness, all of that nonsense is gone. And I want to point this out. The establishment, the GOP, fought tooth and nail against Trump. Tooth and nail. They did not want him in. The first time they thought, oh my God, they thought it was a fluke. When they saw how popular that guy was, they fixed an election, and I don't believe that was just the Democrats.
Right.
And so I'm not going to delve into that, not on this podcast, but maybe on another one.
There is a lot to that.
There's a ton to that. Oh, there's a ton. But the fact of the matter is, Trump is popular because Trump is Trump, and he's bringing that masculine aura back on the world stage. And the GOP didn't like it during his first term, and they tried to stonewall him and slow walk him, and a bunch of them got with Democrats to do that. When he ran the second time, I believe that they were instrumental in that, and you had the Lincoln Project and all of that garbage. And now, and even now, you could see that some of these Republicans in the elite, the hierarchy of the GOP, they still don't like Trump. They still think he's a knuckle-dragging troglodyte, and how the hell can we be so dumb as to fall for this guy? So they don't want that type of energy. And I see that when I look at people like Royce White. And if you've ever listened to Royce, he's on America News, I think it's OAN. It is OAN, and he has a podcast. But you sit down and you listen to him. You think initially, okay, this is a basketball player. It's going to be a topical knowledge about politics. No, dude, he gets down into the American ethos.
I just want to say something real quick.
Sure.
I mean, I saw that picture of you with you and him on Facebook today, but you didn't have a beard and your head was shaved, and he was like 7 feet taller than you.
No, that's Michael Steele. Okay. So let's talk about that. So way back in the day, way back in the day, that was before the beard. I was a babe in the woods, wet behind the ears, as they'd say, as my dad would still say right now today. And this was when Barack Obama was elected. So we got the black president, Barack Obama. And what I believe happened is the GOP was like, crap, we got to get a black guy. And so they got one. and it was Michael Steele. Now, Michael Steele was not a Republican. He was not a conservative, in my humble opinion. If you go back, and this is before 2009, I think it was, you could hear him on like MSNBC and different talk shows talking about like the life issues. And he didn't sound like a conservative then. Certainly not on Second Amendment. And we're all gun guys here. Like everybody on here, well, not everybody, but a large portion of our fan base are Second Amendment guys. This guy, Michael Steele, used the same talking points that Joe Biden used. He basically said on multiple occasions that he doesn't understand why we need an AR-15 to hunt. Those are his words.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait a minute. So this is who we get. Like the Democrats get candidates.
I would have responded back. Depends on what or who we're hunting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're doing some tyrant hunting. There you go.
Right.
And I use my AR, like the AR platform is, and that's something that other people, these idiots, just don't get. It's not just 5.56 and 2.23. The AR platform is a popular platform for all kinds of calibers, all kinds of calibers. Like I have ARs. Well, I can't touch them, but back there, tell me which one is 2.23, and tell me which one is 300 blackout. You have no idea because it's the platform, not the friggin' gun, you idiot. But anyway, you can. Many people that I know hunt with an AR platform firearm. But when I talk about Second Amendment, that is the farthest thing from my mind. I am armed because, one, I have to protect my family and my community. And two, we had this little thing called the Revolutionary War, and it's the way that we took care of the tyrant that was plaguing us at that time. And we warned them, and then we announced our Declaration of Independence, and we enumerated why we were leaving, and they were like, well, who are those guys? Just a bunch of farmers and laymen. What are they going to do if we show up in our shiny little red coats and whatnot, and then we kick their asses back across the pond? That's the reason. That's the reason right there. And we have come dangerously close to doing that again. And so I'll be damned if I'm giving up my arms because Michael Steele said I don't need it for hunting. Like, I'm not an Australian. I mean, do I look Australian? No. I'm a red-blooded American. Anyway, so during this time, the NDGOP wanted to bring some heavy hitters into the state, and Michael Steele was one of them. And I was the chair of the, I think I was the chair then, and I was the president later of the Tea Party caucus. And they wanted to kind of bring us into the fold. That was a mistake. Huge mistake. But so they bring this guy in. And he's supposed to be the great black savior of the Republican face. He was our diversity hire. He was our box-checked, pre-approved, person that was going to speak to conservative values and all of that. And he was anything but. This dude was anything but. Right now, he's 100. He voted for Biden-Harris. He 100% against Trump, and he's a out and out liberal now. He's had a show on MSNBC for I don't know how long, but this was the guy. He was the head of the National Party at one point. He went head to head with Rush Limbaugh at one point. Think about that. To me, that's crazy. And now with this Michelle, what's her name? I forget. Trafalgar or whatever it is, they trot her out, all the talking heads, and I have no doubt that they're all paid to do this. All of the big mainstream people.
Is she the one running against Royce for Senate?
Well, it's going to be a primary, so it's kind of a crowded field right now.
They're both Republicans. That's right. Okay,
they're both Republicans.
That's right.
But she is the squish. She is a pro-choice conservative. I didn't know that there was such a thing as a pro-choice conservative. She also was against Trump. Told him not to run this time around. And in 2024, she was like, "Please don't run. You're too divisive. You're too this. You're too that. You're too all of that stuff." And then you have a guy like Royce who steps into that race, and he goes, "Hey, I'm the guy you're looking for." And he doesn't just have that topical knowledge. This is the guy that said, "Screw you guys," when they tried to force him to take the COVID shot. He doesn't play that noise with his kids. Like, you're not giving my kids these vaccinations. You should hear him go in on the New World Order and what they are trying to do and what the underpinnings of the Democrat Party and the Unipar. You should just hear this dude. Like, he sounds like me a couple years ago. He goes hard in the paint. And he coined this phrase, smash mouth populism. My phrase is smash mouth politics. Like, in your face, because these people are demonic. And I'm just going to say this. You think about what the Democrats did to this country in the last election. What they did to this country. Don't forget, looking at the border and seeing Biden having that front loader lift up the barrier to let all these people in. They did that. They transed our boys. They have boys playing in girls' sports. They murder babies with a plum. I mean, we can't be nice with these people. We cannot be nice with them. We're trying to, with white gloves, fight by the old what's it called, the English rules of boxing. And you're doing this and doing yeah. These people are straight up MMA. They're Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and we're out of our depth. And instead of getting people who will stand in the breach and go, hey, no, this isn't happening, and maybe use some profanity every now and then, I don't see a problem with that. Get upset. Carry this thing on your back. Be America first. Be unabashedly male, masculine aura. They don't want that guy. You know why? He's not controllable. You can't sell him a shit sandwich and tell him it's spam. It's not going to work with him. He's going to call you out and be a hard stop for America first. That's the problem. So now they're all on this pro-choice conservative, she's been all over the talk circuit, Fox News, like all of these places, and she's being touted as the moderate. She's the only one that can win. Royce is a little too abrasive. I mean, we don't really want that image, do we? I do. I'm just going to say it. I do. I want that image. I want that strong, masculine.
There's a lot of men that need to see that because they're afraid to stand up for themselves because they get shouted down by all these pink-haired, purple-haired people all the time. And you get beat down for standing up. But if you see another person, oh, there is another person.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another person. Oh, look at that. All of a sudden you have a group of people that will protect each other.
Yeah.
But
and you don't have
really
to
hard
worry
when you're by yourself. It's really hard when you're by yourself.
Like, you see a warrior like a Royce come standing behind you. He's got your 6. You're good. You're golden. If I saw Michelle Tafoya standing behind me, I'd be like, oh, damn. You just show your belly and be done with it because there's no fight to be had. I think that Royce will stand there by himself if he has to and say, all of you guys are wrong. All of you chuckle nuts are idiots. And there you go. And he's often talked about the uniparty, and I happen to believe this. I've been saying for a very long time that a lot of people on the right, even in the right media sphere, are nothing but control opposition, even locally here. Even locally. Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, so when you say uniparty, back in the Ron Paul campaign, when I campaigned with him, we always talked about the Council of Foreign Relations.
Mm.
And this is a group of people that are all the congressmen and all the senators, every politician pretty much in Washington is enrolled in this. And they go there and they talk about policy outside the Congress. And then they bring that back in. And this is the globalist point of view. This is the Bilderbergs, the Rothschilds,
we're going there. Let's do it.
Well, no. This is the first level above that. But we could. But it's been a while since I brought that up. But then the Council for Relations, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, all those layers. But that's that first layer, and it looks so simple. We're just here for world peace, and we're smoothing things out and talking. but they're making plans outside of Congress, and then they're bringing these plans back in. See, that's what happens.
Oh yeah, you look at the World Economic Forum and George Soros and all those idiots and what they were doing, and the way they've done a complete 360 in the face of AI. Now they're at first everybody had to be globally conscious, and it was all about the environment and less energy and all of it. Now that AI is and you need supercomputing, now they've completely abandoned that. They've completely abandoned that. And what would happen at these little meetings in Davos is all of these global elites would get together and they talk about what they were going to do, and they are unelected. Like, you had no input in these idiots in anything that they did. But they would come together, get a plan together, and then move every country in the same direction. That's what Biden was doing. That's why. I mean, I remember, and I don't know why we memory hold these things. I remember Glenn Beck years ago talking about sound bites that he got from the WEF where they said that they were going to flood the Western countries with all of these migrants. He said that, and every country they assigned a certain number of migrants that they were going to accept. Now that goes against, American immigration policy, but they did it. They did it I would say without our knowledge, but they did it right in our face, and there was nothing we can do about it. And again, feckless Republicans allowed it because they want that cheap labor. That's what you guys don't understand. You think the GOP is the party of immigration, hard immigration laws and all. No, we've had these laws on the book for a very long time. George Bush was famous in saying something similar to that. The fact that, if we get all these people out, then the job market will crash and we won't have the people to do the jobs that Americans won't do. Again, that is total bull. 100% bull. They're flooding our country. They're replacing the voters like me who are a little bit too honorary for them. There are and the black voters, my God, I don't even want to get on that.
One of the biggest pushers of the immigration was the National Chamber of Commerce, because it's cheap labor, and who's in that? All the big businesses, that's their
100%.
lobby, so
100%.
They were always pushing this. So when you see Chamber of Commerce, they don't always have your best interest.
No.
And so I just wanted to point that out real quick.
Oh no, you're 100% right. I'm not a fan of the Chamber of Commerce, specifically because of that. As a matter of fact, I'm affiliated with another group out of Bismarck that is attempting to be the answer to the Chamber of Commerce. And I'm probably going to be talking about that a little bit, maybe in February, end of March, some events that we're going to be holding. But I'm going to get to a couple of the comments. Big government been fleecing the common person forever. Corey, yes. That's all I can say on that. 100%. I think about people like me. And again, my wife has to do our taxes because if I look at them, I can't even look at them without my blood pressure spiking. I just can't, knowing that there's a USAID out there that was partially defunded, but is still going strong, dude. Those people are still getting money. Those NGOs are still getting. As a matter of fact, our Republican-led government just voted for $500 billion to keep sending those idiots. How many of you know that? Yeah, that happened. And it seems to me that I'm like a cash register to them. And I have a no sale button on me that I am incapable of turning off because they're just going to keep pushing it and it's going to keep paying out. And there's nothing I can do about it.
So there's one guy that I really like in Congress, Tim Burchett. You ever watch him? He's on Facebook every morning. He'll be like, yep, we screwed up again. I'm really sorry, folks. Yep. But he lays it out. He says, we got to change this. This is what's going on. He lays it out for real. So if you can follow him, Tim Burchett out of, I think it's not Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee or one of those states over there. Great man, very humble. Just follow him and listen to him.
Republican or Democrat, wings of the same bird. I am an American. That's Jason Penny, 100%, brother.
Right.
He is taking it to the next level, Coachman. Yeah, and I think he's talking about Royce. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, again, one of the and if you guys like, you hear me talking about Royce White. If you've never heard that name before, go to his YouTube page, go to his Facebook page. I think he might have a Twitter page. Yeah, he does have a Twitter page. And what I would encourage you to do, and every Saturday he has a show on OAN. Just check it out. And what I would encourage you to do is just take like an hour of your time and listen to one of his shows. You will be amazed at this brother's depth of knowledge, man. His love for America. He's been on Alex Jones. He's been on Steve Bannon's War Room. He's been on the PBD podcast. He's been on all these big names because they see the same thing that I see in him. He would be a powerhouse, and he was leading the Republican field. That's why they brought in Michelle. She is a milquetoast, wishy-washy, but well-known. And this is something that should piss off every red-blooded American male. What they did there was they took football, and they took a pretty face that was known for football because we're American men. We love football, you know. Oh, we know Michelle over there. She's great. You know, she's been on the sidelines for like 10 years, blah, blah, blah. They slap a shiny GOP label on her, push her out there, and they're like, this is the moderate. She can win. Vote for her. And they expect us, like Pied Piper, like just to march to that drum when you got a fighter over here, where you got a legit mixed martial artist ready to drop elbows and knees for you, for America first. That's his whole thing. That's what he's been talking about this entire time. When he got kicked out of the NBA because he wouldn't bow down to those idiots, when he wouldn't take the COVID shot, when he wouldn't do a number of things, when he talked about the Uyghurs, when he would put MAGA 2020 on like he would write it on the side of his head and go out there and play, when he have his son run out on the court with Christ first sign in front of him as he's coming out. Like, this guy is God, America, and family in that order. I mean, and this is the guy that they want, because he is as pissed off as I am, and as you are, and as any red-blooded American should be, over the uniparty and what they've done to this country and how they're fleecing us and how they seem to care about everybody else in the world outside of us. We are the forgotten men. We are.
And we're going to continue to be, too. One thing I wanted to comment on real quick is nothing's going to really change until the media gets held accountable. They're the ones brainwashing all these liberals because they believe it. I almost feel sorry for them because that's all they hear, you know. Yeah. I can't say it, but I have family members that only listen to the left-wing news. They don't watch Fox News. They don't watch any of these podcasts like this. You know, they don't have any of that in their lives. So all they hear is bad Trump rapist, pedophile, whatever, this, that, you know, and they believe it. So when you're arguing with these people, you know, on Facebook and posts and all this other kind of stuff, they generally believe it, which is a sickening, you know. So we gotta account for the media, and they need to atone for what they've done. I don't know how to do it, but I think that'd be a good idea for a show for brainstorming how to counter that culture. Well, we know how to counter it. Stuff like this. Stuff like this. But we got to drive them out of business, you know.
Well, we have to a point. I mean, like their ratings are abysmal, like completely in the toilet. And one of the good things about alternative media is it started taking off. and it started changing people's perception. That's how Joe Rogan is just a meathead. I like listening to him. He's in my Spotify rotation because he is very, very entertaining. But when you get a guy like Joe Rogan to leave California because it's too liberal, when you get a guy like Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan is a liberal, trust me, he's a liberal. But when things get so crazy over there that he goes, you know what, I can't do this anymore, then you're reaching people. And then they demonized him. Like he was going to take the COVID shot because, you know, he's the MMA announcer and all of that. And they had COVID shots lined up for all those guys, and he was going to go in. And I think it was lucky that he missed his flight or something happened and he couldn't get there the day that they were going to administer it. And then in between that time and the time that he was going to be able to get the shot again, he caught COVID. And he did a Facebook Live or something like that. And he's like, yeah, I got COVID. I was sick for like a day. And the next day he was working out and all of that. And then the media slammed that dude. And it woke him up.
They slammed him because he mentioned ivermectin.
Yep.
And then they slammed him.
They mentioned him because he went outside of the prescribed narrative. Right. And again, they couldn't have pushed that whole COVID thing if there were remedies that worked. If there were other things out there that worked, and they didn't even have to work better, even though they did work tons better, but they couldn't have used that, what's it called, the emergency, whatever it is. Yeah,
when they authorized beforehand. Yeah.
Emergency authorization. Yeah, they couldn't use that if there were other things out there that worked, and so that's why they hit him so hard. To us, you know. They hit him hard, and then Sanjay Gupta, he had Sanjay Gupta on his show, and he was like, "You know, you guys lied," and Sanjay Gupta admitted that, and then the next day he was on with Don Lemon, and he was walking it back. Well. And you're looking at the media just outright lie about that. And then you look at gaslighting, right. And then you look at the way that alternative media took off, and it just left those guys in the dust. Now they're getting a foothold in the alternative media space, even though they axed people like Don Lemon and what's that gorilla-looking chick? I can't remember her name. You know who I'm talking about. Joy Reid. That's it. They asked her, and then ton of these people. They were like, "Well, no, you're not bringing in any revenue." I'll be glad when they do that to The View. I cannot stand, and I only listen to clips and sound bites from those idiots. Seriously,
I can't even look at it. I can't even watch it.
But Corey, it's time for a reset. You are one. I've been saying that, and there are people like Clay that tell me, "Hey, Leon, he'll call me. He'll see me. I'll be on a tear on Facebook, or I'll make a reel or something like that. And he'll call me and he'll be like, "Hey, dude, calm down. We got to keep our powder dry." Charlene is one of those people also. So we're going to hit our next break, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to see where Charlene is at. I think I told her 7 o'clock, but I'm going to hit this break. Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, Don Hager, and you good folks. We'll be right back right after this break, if I can find it. I wish I had some doo-doo-doo-doo music. Oh, there we go.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just 1 block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon. Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul's, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton Lasercraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
This is Leon Francis on BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
I just love that little dancing baby.
Little baby.
Oh, man. That little dude. First time I saw him, I'm like, I gotta have that. I gotta have that. I am Leon Francis. This is BlackBeardLogic. I apologize for the lighting. I know it's a little dark back there. I'm gonna do something about that before the next podcast. And you'd think it'd be a lot lighter up here than it was in the basement, but apparently I like that basement pretty good, man. I know I'm normally in my bunker, and now I'm not. I don't see Charlene, so I'm gonna hit just a little bit about I've seen a couple of the comments. I'm gonna try to wait on Charlene. Maybe she had trouble with the link. I don't know. And maybe we'll do that on another show, talk about preparedness. And you folks, the people that, have followed me for a while, they know, like I have my bug, I call them bug in bags. A lot of, they're really bob bags, bug out bags, things like that. I have a truck bag. That's what I call it. And it's to get me back here from wherever I am. And I have things in there like, I have a, radio that I can talk to my wife even when the comms go down, and it doesn't matter where in the world I am. I have one. I have a couple of those. In my bag, I have a full trauma kit in there. I have a collapsible AR. I think it's the 300 Blackout, but I might have swapped that out. I know my truck gun used to be the 300 Blackout. Yeah,
that's a bad problem to have, huh? You can't remember how many guns or where they're at. Come on.
No, it's not that bad. But I remember being on that whole 300 blackout kick, and then I guess he's my friend, Jamie, kind of gave me crap about it, and then they did the ballistic gel test, and yeah, he was right. It's you got to go with God's cartridge, man. The 5.56.
Yep.
It's the best. When you're looking at affordability per shell, and then the kinetic energy and the way it performs, especially in close quarter combat, if you have to do that. And my ARs are in various barrel lengths, and like my truck AR is great. My backpack AR is great. The one I use, like if something were to happen in the house to clear the rooms, awesome. You know, so versatile. I love that platform. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that topic. What I wanted to talk about is it's been a while. I think I'm trying to think of the last person I heard talk about America First policies outside of like a Mark Levin. And I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, Mark Levin," but I kind of grew up with Mark Levin, and that dude is brilliant. I have every book he's ever written on life, liberty, and Levin. I mean, life, liberty, and just all of his books. I think he's brilliant. And before Mark Levin, I had never really heard anyone just break down the American ethos, the mindset of what it meant to be an American citizen, and to love it. And it taught me to love it, like just to embrace what it meant to be an American and how great a thing it was. And then I listened to people like Royce, and he has that same mindset. Again, it's a lot more raw, and I like that. You know, I am me anyway. I love it. He breaks it down. It's raw. It's uncut. And sometimes it's in your face. That's why he calls it Smash Mouth. And I think sometimes you need that, because I think we have this effeminate way of talking about politics. And again, it goes back to the whole white glove approach. We have to couch our words, and we have to say the sound bites the way the focus group says is acceptable and palatable and all of that crap. And I'm like, no, you know.
I like Mike Tyson's version.
Yep.
Everybody knows what they're doing until they get punched right in the mouth. You know.
Yeah, everybody.
You know.
And I think one of the reasons why we have such a purplish pastel color on the Republican Party is that mindset. Like, we don't have the closest thing that you can find is libertarian, but some of those guys, dude, I'm sorry, I am a Christian conservative with civil libertarian leanings. That's how I kind of couch myself. But you don't have people that wear that love of the American ethos on their shoulders. You have very few of them.
Right.
Rose is one of them. Michelle is not. I've listened to her podcast, and I know this is going to sound chauvinistic, and I'm sorry, but for a woman, she sounds okay. But I don't believe that's what we need in this country at this time. Trump is doing his level best, and some would say he's not going far enough. I want him to be more Trump. I want him to be the bull in the china shop breaking stuff, and we put it back together. I think that's what Pete Hegseth did when he went in there, and he's like, yeah, we're not doing any of this woke crap anymore. It's the Department of War. Our job is to go in, kill people, break things. That's what we do, and that's what we're doing.
I'll go a step further. I want the Insurrection Act. You know, I don't think Trump's going to have enough time to clear all this corruption up within 4 years or 3 more years with the obstructions from Congress, obstructions from judges. He's going to have to do something else to speed it up. Military tribunals would do that.
Oh,
that's my
absolutely.
opinion, you know.
And if you think about it, even with what they were doing with the Doge cuts, with the USAID and all of the corruption and the fraud, and like, do you guys understand how many trillions of our dollars were going overseas? We're not we we're talking about in North Dakota right now. What is it? The free lunch thing, and I forget what is it, like $78 million or something like that per year.
65, 65 every 2 year.
Yeah,
Every 2
55.
years.
So, and my buddy Bob Wheeler, God bless him, man. And so I'm just gonna use this as a point. I'm not gonna dig into it. Not here, not now. But God bless. Bob said, basically, we find money for everything under the sun. And you got babies out there that, are sitting there eating a peanut butter sandwich because they don't have the money to, and I'm like,
it got defeated today in the Senate.
I saw that.
Yeah. So, whew.
Yeah. And I'm like, and Bob was pissed. Bob,
Yeah.
I got to call him.
That short little video of him just saying the F-bomb.
Yeah. But I make that point to say this. Our schools get a ton of money. What are they doing with that money? Like the Taj Mahals they built out in West Fargo. But we don't have money to feed kids if one day they forget. It blows my mind.
They're paying high salary transgender counselors. That's what they're doing.
And that's the thing. And the point being is there's a lot of corruption, a ton. And even now, when we are having win after win after win, it's a drop in the bucket. This thing is like an iceberg. You see the top of it? There was a massive amount below the surface. So what you just articulated is prescient, because Trump only has 2.5 years in there now. Unless we get another America First person in there, they're just going to roll everything back. And we saw that under Biden. Biden wasn't doing it. It was the underpinnings of the uniparty rolling everything back.
Biden didn't know what he was doing. Everybody underneath him just did what they wanted, pretty much. Making money and grifting off of it. If American patriots didn't rise up in arms when we found out we were sending money over to study transgender studies in African frogs, I mean. Well, are we still sending like $40 million a week to Afghanistan?
Yeah.
I mean, a week.
Yeah. It's insane. It is absolutely insane the amount of money we waste. And then you look at one state like Minnesota and the amount of fraud that was going through that state. And we don't have I remember when those chuckle nuts told Trump we don't have money to build the wall. And I think he was asking for like $3 billion. The state of Minnesota grifted the American taxpayer out of $19 billion.
At least.
At least. And that's one state. And there are many Somalias all over the country because of Democrats and complacent Republicans. Bismarck, Somalia, yeah.
Look at California. We don't even know what's going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the insane one. And New York.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want New York to fail, but simply because it's New York. It's the Big Apple. It is the it used to be the when you think about America, you think about New York. It was the apple of the American eye, and to see it fall to an idiot like Mondami and those, that's enough to make me just piss me off. One. Two, it shows you what happens when you water down the American ethos. Like there is the fact that a Muslim, socialist, communist could win in New York City after 9/11. It blows my mind. I'm glad I'm in North Dakota. But again, our country is trending in a very bad direction. And when
Justin just made a good point. Justin just made a good point. See, they send the foreign money, and then they get the kickbacks to the party donations,
100%
to the campaigns, and that's what happened a lot in the Ukraine. Even, I mean, wait till that corruption gets exposed, if it does.
Think about this. Trump said, "Hey, there's corruption in Ukraine." Something that everyone was saying pre everyone jumping on the Ukraine bandwagon. Everybody knew that it was corrupt as all get out. The guy that's running it now is not even a politician or statesman. He's not smart. He's an actor. And if you did 2 seconds of research, you could find this guy playing a piano with his male organ. He was a comedian. That's what he was. He was an actor that the global elites put him in power. Ukraine is corrupt. A lot of our politicians were fleecing their money through there. They were cleaning their money through Ukraine. We also, something that we never talk about now is the fact that Russia went over there and they found tons of Wuhan-like labs in Ukraine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then we got maybe a soundbite or two about it, and then the narrative just changed. They were told by the powers that be, "Hey, we don't talk about this," and we just don't talk about it. What the hell happened to those labs that Russia found? Which makes me not believe any of our media. None of them. Because, again, that was a real thing. I remember when the Chinese general said, when the whole COVID thing was going on, he got on TV, and you can ask my wife this. I talk about it all the time. He got on TV, and he was like, "No, that is not Chinese-made virus. America did that. That was an American lab, the American blah, 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 this and that." They killed that guy. That guy was dead within a week, and we're not even talking about it. I haven't heard anybody even mention that. There is so much wrong with I love America, man. I love this country. I love what it stands for. I love the founding principle. I love the fact that a guy like me, coming from the boot of Louisiana with 2 dimes to rubbing, put together in his pocket, can come up here, can be on the radio, can be involved in politics, can have a farm out in the middle of nowhere, raising my kid and homeschooling him, and all of the stuff, all of the things that life has given me, being an American citizen, that I could not get anywhere else on this planet. I don't understand how there are so many people out there that don't get that don't have that passion, that don't see through all the bullshit that is shoveled at us repeatedly, even by our own party, dude. Even by our own party. Sometimes I see the milquetoast response from people that are supposed to represent me, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? We cannot lose this thing.
If you want me to break it down, it's the collapse of the family. The nuclear family is the reason for all of this, because they're getting raised by the schools. They're not getting raised by the parents. Single moms are working. Single dads are working. The kid goes to school, learns everything from his classmates, from his teachers, from the college, from the coaches, the band, whatever.
Yep.
Everybody but their parents are raising these children. And, of course, it's public indoctrination. It's not education.
Yep.
So that has happened a couple of generations now. That wasn't in my generation, Gen X. We weren't like that. But everything after that seems to have drifted, and they don't have that passion like we had. The schools changed. The parents lost contact with their children.
Yeah, we seen it. One of the issues I had with this whole feeding the kids act, whatever they're doing in Bismarck, is I see anything that the public schools do in excess of just teaching the kids is a bad thing. I think the more time the kid, I'm against preschool or mandatory preschool. I'm against any policy that would pay for a mom to work and put their kids like Head Start or whatever. I'm against all of that, because I believe that the kid needs their parents more than it needs the state. The state is going to make you a good state actor. It's going to make you a good cog in the wheel, man. That's what it's meant to do. You're going to be a good civic servant. You're going to be a good tax base or whatever. But we're going to shape your worldview, and we see how demonic it is.
The Romans did this when they would conquer a country.
Yeah,
they would go in there, conscript the children, and teach them the Roman way,
how to be good Romans,
how to be good Romans, instead of getting raised by their family and their traditional ways, and they would take over countries that way.
Yeah, I forget, a great man once said, you can't be surprised if you send your kid to Caesar and he comes back a Roman. I mean, and that's what we're doing. Like, you send your kid off to school and he comes back and he's like, hey, I think I might be a girl. And you're like, wait, what? You know, there's no God. There's no Christ.
And then you tell him you're wrong. You tell your kid he's wrong. They go back to the counselor. The counselor asks him what you said. Then you're getting visit from CCP, Child Protection Services.
Oh, I've had fights like that. I know parents that are in the they're in the midst of fights just like that, where they're pitted against their own kid because their worldview doesn't match what they're learning in the classroom. What you need, what America needs to get back to, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, what America needs to get back to that founding ethos is, I think, smaller classrooms. I think that there should be no teachers union. That shouldn't even be a thing. I also believe that class sizes should be smaller. There should be vetting for teachers. If you got blue hair and a septum ring, absolutely not. If you're too confused to understand what gender you are, then you should not be teaching you should be nowhere near a child.
You have a mental disorder.
Yeah.
You should not be there. I mean,
and I'm going to step on some toes with this one, but I don't believe that if you are a homosexual, you should be able to teach children. I just don't. I don't believe that. I know that we teach Eli that when God created this whole thing, he created man and woman, and he joined them together, and the two became one, and they procreate, and that's how we got Eli, and that's how, and then he goes to school, and he learns about, hey, there are many different kinds of families. Wait, no. It also would explain why the American family has been so dissolved, and they try to stick it back together, and it's not the original plan, so it doesn't work. And you have broken kids, and you have SSRI, and you have like all of these bad things that come out of this mindset. It's like a demonic miasma that has kind of taken hold of the American ethos, and only a few of us are able to see it. And it's because they have spent one generation after another just breaking us down. Like the things that they pull today, they could have never pulled in my dad's day.
And to add on to that, some of these churches are complicit too. In that, I mean, when you have a gay, lesbian, purple-haired preacher up there, teaching your kid the holy ways, is that really Christ or God speaking?
Nope.
I mean, what's going on?
It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Correct.
Right.
100% correct.
I mean, we are in America, and people have the ability to do that. I don't think there should be marriages, though. That is a godly thing. That is a spiritual thing.
I don't think government should
government should not even be in that.
And I'm gonna take a step back. I do believe that government has a interest in promoting families, like the absolute. So it goes without saying that in my estimation, and I have a Christ-centered worldview. I think the absolute best way to raise kids, or to even have kids, is a mom and a dad and their kids. And to me, that's it. And I would promote that. And if I am a government and I want to promote a healthy society, I think that's what I would do, because, again, it starts with the cornerstone of a healthy society is the family. That family unit teaches you pretty much how to circumnavigate the environment that is your community and the broader society, especially in an ordered society. You want your sons and your daughter to respect authority because they respected the authority in your home. They understand that certain things are good, certain things are bad, certain things will get you punished, certain things will get you praises. And if they don't have that basic thing down, and if you have a broken home, you don't have that. If you have moms raising kids absent a father, you don't have that. That's why you have all of these hippies running around, and they have no concept of repercussions for their damn actions. It's because dad never said, hey, knock it off. They don't have that concept.
That reminds me, when I grew up in West Texas, I lived there from my 5th grade to my sophomore year in high school, back from 1980 to 87 or something like that. They had corporal punishment back then still.
Yep.
Yeah. So
when I grew up, they did too.
I was a fighter when I moved down there. I was like, mom and dad got divorced young. I was one of those hellion boys. Everywhere I moved to, I got in fights until I went to Texas. First day in class, 5th grade, got in a fight. Went to the principal's office. Principal pulls out a paddle, I don't know, 2 foot long with holes drilled in it. The holes looked like an arrow. I still remember it. You know, he goes, bend over on the desk. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. This is new to me, you know. I'm not even from Texas. I'm from North Dakota, moving down to Texas. He goes, put your hands on the table, bend over. I'm like, what? Whack!
Yep.
I was crying before he hit me.
Well, see,
I never got in another fight for 3 years.
I was a good kid because I knew that my principal, my teacher, like my science teacher, Mr. Collins, he lived kitty corner from us. And if I cut up in school, when I got home, my little 4-foot mom would spank me. And then when my dad got home and she told him, hey, he was cutting up in school, my dad would spank me. And I knew what a spanking was. So I did not want to take 3 spankings just for misbehaving. So I was a pretty good student, dude. and I think that's like nowadays, like I never understood the whole timeout thing. I get it, I guess now. Sometimes I tell Eli, hey, you need to chill, go stand over there for a bit. You know, when his energy is too much for his mom or whatever, and he'll do it without question because the alternative is me laying hands on you, and so I don't want to do that.
I think the punishment should relate to the problem, what they did.
100%.
Because what happens is when you're punishing them, you're setting an example that what they did could be harmful. You could hurt yourself doing this.
Yep.
You know, you need to realize there's consequences, and this is the consequence. And sometimes it's painful. You know, maybe a little thing, you put them in the closet, you know, put them not in the closet, put them in the corner.
Put them in the
maybe
closet.
put in a closet. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But
Woodshed, man, woodshed.
But it should be proportional to what the problem they did.
100%.
You know, so they realize consequence. There's no consequences nowadays.
Yep.
You know, I'll go sit in the corner and play on my phone for an hour if you're going to put me here. I guess you know.
He will not have a phone, and if I put you in the corner, you're getting no entertainment except for your brain. I want you thinking about what you did. Like sometimes you see those kids throwing a fit in the middle of Walmart or whatever. My mom would not have any of that. The consequences were immediate, and we knew it. There's a thing.
Okay, this is what my mom did. My mom would send me to the room and think about my actions before she spanked me.
Yep.
Which made it worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, so they're dreading this, you know.
and again, so, and just to couch this, I feel like I need to say this. You need your dad to show you what is socially acceptable. Like if you see a boy, and I've known young dudes that did this, that would freak out on their mom, that would hit their mom, that would curse out their mom. That is not going to be a well-rounded kid. That kid is going to suffer in society. He's going to have issues. If he gets married, that marriage is going to suffer. And it's because you did not correct that action when he was young and he was impressionable and when he should have received it. That's why fathers are so crucial. They're so crucial, and we kind of give. We kind of in our society today treat fathers as just kind of a cash register, like they're the throwaway parent. We tend, and they did this very effectively in the African American community. They gave you this vision of the strong black single mom and blah blah. All of that was horse crap. It was horse crap, and way too many young black mothers fell into that. I don't need no man, like the whole Beyonce thing.
Well, it's the white women now too. It's the white women now too. You argue with them over the free lunch thing, Oh well, it's all the man's fault that the women are single and
no,
they're deadbeat dads and all this and Well, okay, so North Dakota's got this law where if you don't pay your child support, you lose your license. And there's going to be deadbeat dads because they can't get a job because they don't have a license.
You don't want to hear me talk about that. I think, dude,
the stupidest thing in the world.
Unless the guy is just wailing on you every night. I've seen way too many marriages. Like right now, I have a very, very good veteran friend, Marine, and he's going through total crap. He's missing his family. The woman just basically said, I don't want to be married anymore. And basically took his kids. And the fact that he was a veteran and he has PTSD sometimes and all of that worked against him. And like he had no resources. Like this woman had every resource available possible. They were saying that she was mentally abused by him, and because if he would raise his voice, and she had advocates in her corner, and free legal services, and people found her housing, and all of these resources on the taxpayer dime, not to mention. And my friend, he just wants to be a father. And like he calls me and he's in tears sometimes and it's really bad. It's really bad. And all he wants to do is be a dad. And then his kids come over when she allows it, when she deems it fit. Like he works his tail off just so he can have enough money to pay her and then pay for his meager living. He's not a rich dude. But his kids come over. He doesn't want to be the disciplinarian now because he's dad. He doesn't see him a lot, and this and that. And he's watching
to be a bad guy at that point.
He's watching their behaviors deteriorate, and it's breaking him. Now I know that there are some garbage men in this world. This guy is not one of them, and I got 100 stories like that, where you do this to a guy, and you wonder why he's broken. Why he walks with his shoulders down, why he sees his kids and he's happy, but it's an immense sucking of his soul out of it. Like it's, I couldn't imagine it. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that subject, but
no,
we need fathers.
It needs to be mentioned. This needs to be mentioned.
Yeah.
People need to hear this. People in our audience need to hear this.
Yeah.
It's a very good story. It's a very sad story.
It is, and it's one that I've seen in my life repeated over and over again. And again, I've told this story before. I watch my sister, who I love. I love my sister. But I watch her chew up men and spit them out. And I also watch her 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies struggle. Raised in the same house as I was. And she didn't get it. And she thought she wears pink and purple and all of this, and like you go over to her house and she's playing Whitney Houston and Beyonce and the strong black woman this, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you? And again, society would look at her and say, strong black single mom. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, no, you broke through 3 men and 3 children. You're not strong. You're not. I never say that to her because she kicked the crap out of me. But anyway, so we were talking about the cornerstone of American society, and I don't know how it got into that. But the fact of the matter is, you need strong families. If you want an America First agenda to work, you can't do that with broken kids. You can't. You can't do that when every young man or woman, you look into their eyes and they have that SSRI stare. You know the one I'm talking about. Can't do it. Like you can't push past that
Crazy eyes.
situation. And all of these, when you see these rioters and you see those women screaming and just going nuts, and but just look at the eyes. The eyes will tell you she's on something, and our government gave it to her. Our society gave it to her. One of the best news I had heard in a very long time is when I heard Trump say he was going to dismantle the public schools. He was going to dismantle that whole thing and kick it back out to the states. I think that that's great.
Yeah.
I think that you also need states that are strong enough to say, yeah, this is the thing that we're going to do, and then tailor their curriculum around the kids in that state and what that state needs, and that's it. All this social engineering has to go. Has to go. And I believe we need a lot more men who are men. Like, I see that there are a lot of males in the in education, but they are emasculated males. They're not men like when I grew up with Mr. Collins or my PE teacher who would check you into the locker if you said the wrong thing or you were doing something stupid. Masculine men. Like I see videos of kids just fighting in the hallway. And in Fargo, they had this problem. They had this problem with kid on kid violence, and then you see the teachers just kind of standing back. What you need in there is not that soy boy dude with the pastel pink shirt and the dungarees on. You need that guy in the t-shirt and jeans. I remember when an SRO came under fire because he roughed up this young black thug, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he put his hands on it." And I believe that I was like one of the very few voices, and I was on WDAY with Jay Thomas, and I said I applaud. If I saw that same video and I talked to that officer, and that officer said, "Mr. Francis, your son was doing X, Y, and Z, and he didn't listen to my verbal commands," and so I grabbed him, I shook him a little bit, and said, "Hey," I would buy that. His next 5 meals would be on me. I would thank him profusely. I would make my kid thank him. I'd make my kid go do chores for that dude because that's what my kid needed. And I think that we are missing that. I think when we talk about Fargo and all of the crime and all of the crap that's going on there, we didn't talk about this, and now time is kind of getting short. But Fargo has a gang problem. Oh, here's Charlene. So I'm going to couch this discussion.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm going to couch this discussion for just a second. I'm going to bring Charlene Nelson in, and I got to take a break, which kind of sucks because now Charlene is.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi.
Long time.
Yeah.
Charlene, we missed you. We looked for you at around 7 o'clock, and I figured maybe I didn't send the right link, and I was just going to try to do this on another day. What I'm going to do, though, is I am going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about preparedness.
Sounds good.
Hey, thanks, Coach. Coach said I'm over the target, Leon. I just kind of went on a little bit of a rant, Charlene, as I am wont to do. You weren't here to be the calming, so it kind of.
I don't know that I'd be much help. So.
And Dan was no help. He's got the beard and he's got the.
No, I instigated. Come on.
He's like, "Come on, let's go." But so I'm gonna hit a commercial break here. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about, are you prepared? What was that acronym, Charlene?
TETWAWKI, I don't know.
I'll grab it.
TETWAWKI is how you put it.
TETWAWKI, yeah. The end of the world as we know it. Or as I call it, stuff hitting the fan.
Yeah.
And because a lady is present, we're saying stuff now. But
Thank you.
Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, we'll be back right after this break.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon. Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul's, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton Lasercraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
This is Leon Francis on BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
This is Leon Francis, and we are on the Guns and the 701 Network, and I'm talking to my good buddy Dan Hager from Dan Hager TV. Nice, solid patriot, as you can see from the Gadsden back there, and the Stetson, and that whole thing. And then we have Charlene Nelson. So you want to tell folks who you are and what you do and what you're bringing to the table today?
I am a mom of 3 boys. I have 1 granddaughter, living out in rural Cass County for the last 34 years, more or less. My focus has been, for probably 30 of those years, being prepared. We moved to our rural place in the winter of 96, 97. So we really, really got hammered our first
I
year.
remember that one.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, and it left us with a little bit of PTSD. And we said, never again. We cannot go through something like that ever again. And that kind of began our quest to be prepared. Of course, right around the corner from that, everyone was worried about Y2K. That turned out not to be such a big deal, but it was a real wake up call to us that there are a lot of uncertainties out there, and we just need to be prepared for it. So I've been teaching preparedness classes on all sorts of topics that are adjacent to that, and I have a blog, and so I'm here just to help talk about that important topic.
And when I edit this and put it back out on my RSS feeds, I'll have all those links in there, so you can go. And I found, like, I go to your site, and it's a wealth of information. Like, my wife picks up all kinds of good tips on canning, on gardening, on different levels of preparedness. And I think of myself as, a prepper, survivalist, but I took your test, and I didn't do as hot as I thought I would do on
Well,
and I'm seeing texts come through, and I see them, but I think they're delayed for some reason because, yeah, we talked about that in the first hour. So, so what I want to do is I want to go to, what is it, the 10 steps of preparedness. You want to talk about that? Or, as a matter of fact, I'm going to let you take lead on that. Which one of these slides do you want to talk about first?
let's actually do 4 phases of preparedness.
Okay, I'm going to bring up the 4 phases of preparedness, and you can just talk. I think this is going to cover our screen. I'm going to see here. Give me a sec. Yeah, it did. So, yeah, let's just give us the rundown on this. And we're going to go long. We're going to go long. We have like 5 minutes left, but it doesn't matter. If Clay calls me, I'm just going to ignore his phone calls for about a week. So, Charlene,
Okay.
take all the time you need.
All right. Well, actually, do you have that QR code that I sent you?
Oh, I do not. I will put that in the when I rebroadcast this. I'll make sure that
Okay.
that's up.
Because actually, that's where I'd like everyone to start. And that QR code is to this self-evaluation quiz that you were talking about, Leon, that you took. I think a lot of people think that they're ready for just about anything until you go take that quiz. And I'll say I don't even score 100% on it. I still have areas that I can improve on. And I think everyone will find, if they take that quiz, that there's maybe a couple things that they are neglecting a little bit. And so that
Sure.
quiz is to help you not only see where you're starting from, but maybe see some of the areas that you want to improve on. And so I tell everybody you need to start with a 3-day plan. And if you go to my website, I have there a worksheet. Go to the store area, and there's a 3-day worksheet plan to help you devise a plan for what you and your family will do to respond to an immediate emergency, like a tornado, a flood, a house fire, whatever it might be. How are you going to respond? In fact, you asked, I was a little late getting on today. I was actually on the phone with my son. He had spent the last week in Oklahoma City for some training for his job, and was supposed to fly out this afternoon. Well, all the airports were closed because of this great big huge storm. And so he decided to rent a car, and so he's driving north and needed some help with some of the weather and road conditions, and to make sure he was gonna be missing this storm as he drove home. So I think a lot of people in the Midwest right now are maybe questioning, am I really prepared for this future storm?
Yep.
I would hope most of us here in North Dakota would be prepared for something like that. Hopefully we know what it takes to get through a really bad storm. And even if that storm brings a power outage, that you're ready for that. But in order to do that, you need to start with your 3-day plan. And in this chart, I kind of show, first of all, the money. It'll cost you anywhere from $5 to $20 per person. excluding the cost of the container. The 3-day plan, the cornerstone of your 3-day plan, is a 72-hour kit. Some people call it bug out bag. Some people call it go bag. But it's a bag or container of some sort that you're going to put in supplies that you need for you and perhaps a small child to survive 3 days. You'll want food, you want medication, maybe a first aid kit, change of clothes, some water. It's really, really simple. Most of the stuff you need to put in that kit, you probably already have sitting in your house. So all you have to do is maybe we get a couple of travel shampoos and an extra change of socks and underwear, and stick that in a backpack, and you're ready to go. And this is the kind of thing that anybody can have done. You know, I'm talking about it tonight on Thursday night. By Sunday afternoon, you should have this all put together. You should be ready for a 3-day emergency. It's not that big a deal. Now, when we move to the second phase, the 3-month plan, now we've got a few more moving parts, because now we're thinking of the type of crisis that might last more than 3 days. I don't know. What do you think when you think of a crisis or disaster that lasts several days, several weeks? What kind of things come to your mind?
Well, we had the tornado here in Enderlin, and it knocked us out for a solid 4 days. Solid 4 days. So, and then we where we live in North Dakota. So, you know, the winters here are brutal, that sort of thing. And then you got the flooding, and so there's a couple of different things.
Yeah. How about if you were to be in a serious accident, couldn't earn income for, say, 6-8 weeks? You were out, out.
Jesus, Charlene.
It could happen.
Yeah,
right?
it could happen. You're right.
So, what are you going to do when there's a crisis that lasts longer than just, say, a week or two? And so this is the kind of prepping where we're kind of nudging into the full bore, underground bunker, kind of the end of the world as we know it kind of prepping. But it's not quite there yet. This is just a more moderate plan, a 3-month plan. Now, how much will it cost you? Well, that depends on the number of people you have and where you're getting your food and other supplies. But what you want in this plan is enough supplies: food, water, medication, personal care, things like toothpaste and shampoo and laundry soap. Enough of those things in reserve for the entire family, including your pets, to last you 3 months. And then you'll want to rotate or replenish that about every 3 to 4 months. So you're not going
Charlene, Charlene, can I cut in for a second?
Sure.
So you talk to people about this type of thing all the time. How many people, and give me a percentage, like if you talk to 100 people, how many of them are at this stage of preparedness, at the 3-month plan stage?
Maybe 1 or 2%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I will say now, a 2-week supply, and maybe you want to start with just a 2-week supply. Now, a 2-week supply, I would say, of the people I'm aware of and the people I've taught and worked with, that maybe 30 or 40% are at the 2-week mark.
That's better.
Yeah, it is. And when you think of 3 months, that really, that sounds crazy to a lot of people. But, a couple years ago, I held a webinar where we did a 5-week course on this. And there was one young couple, they had no children, but they were just getting started and they were interested in this. And then about 6-8 months later, they contacted me and told me that about 2 or 3 months after we finished our 5-week series of classes, he lost his job. He was laid off. And that because they had already started establishing some of these principles that they had learned, they were able to do just fine. They did not incur any new debt. They were able to eat and have everything that they needed until a month or 2 later, he was finally able to get another job. So there are reasons for having, a 3-month supply. In fact, most of your economic advisors will tell you You should have savings, but you should also have a little surplus supply of food and just personal items, your cleaning products, your personal care items, things like that. And now what happens when you do that is I never, ever have to buy anything unless it's on sale.
Okay.
Because I've got a supply. And if it isn't, 30% off, I'll just wait till it is.
And
And then,
Charlene, I'm looking at the amount of information that I want to get into. I just don't think we have enough time to do that.
fine.
So what I want to do is I want to invite. I'm gonna, and we'll talk after this.
Yeah.
But just dedicate an hour, and it doesn't even have to be on my Friday show. We can just do this like a midweek thing. It's kind of break this down because when I'm looking at that just that chart, and I've seen all of the charts. I've done the quiz, the whole thing. Like a ton of questions come to my mind. Like, what do I do if I'm in when my wife and I started out, we were in an apartment. How can I be prepared? And I'm in an apartment, and then we were in that house in North Fargo, and we had some basement space, but I don't think we were really into it until we moved out to Enderlin, and like that whole process, that whole getting your mind wrapped around that aspect of survival and preparedness and that sort of thing. The one thing that you never want to be is that dad when everything kind of goes to crap. You believe that the world is rosy and the systems that we have in place are just going to just keep on rolling on. Everything is going to be great, and then disaster strikes, and then your family is relying on you, and you have not prepared.
Exactly.
So so I want to dig down into that. And again, I consider myself a prepper, but I took this test, and I was found wanting or lacking. And like I'm not like Charlene. Like me, I'm a guy. And again, guys, if you're single out there, this is why you need a woman in your life. I would have never thought to put like socks and underwear and all of that stuff, and it just doesn't even cross my mind. I wear the same underwear for a week anyway.
And it just magically appears, doesn't it? It just magically appears in your drawers.
Like in my bug out bags, in my ready bags in the truck, like, yeah, that's not everything out there is like bare bones. It's bullets and rations and water and the medical and all, but it is very important. If say we have an EMP, and I have an EMP shield on my truck, but say I didn't, and I could not get back to the house without hiking it, like just Pete and Paul run in front of the other, Pat and Turner, and I'm getting there. If my feet are wet, I'm not getting there. Nope. I'm going to develop a blister. I'm going to develop an infection. It's going to be bad. Frostbite, yeah, all of that stuff. So this kind of stuff, like it might seem like, preppers and this. No, this is stuff that you need, especially if you're a guy, especially if you're not I think that Nicole and my family here at the house, something happens, they'll be fine. But if I have to get back to this house, I need to be prepared. I need to be prepared. And that's what a lot of folks, that's why I wanted to bring you on and talk about this in depth. But I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking about Clay. And Clay owns a ton of guns. I don't know if you know that. And and he is a godly guy, but he's also an honorary guy like me. So, I don't want to monopolize a ton of his time, but I do want you to kind of give us a 10,000 foot view. I am going to put that QR code on all of my social media. I'll do a little blurb on it, and before we do our hour or whatever we're going to do, we'll talk about it. I want everyone listening to get that QR code, take that test, and tell me how prepared you are. And be honest. I'll be honest. I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. Dan.
I just wanted to say something real quick too. Nice to see you again, Charlene.
Yes,
I wanted to say you can practice this stuff too. You don't have to wait for an emergency to happen. Practice this on your next camping trip.
yes.
Test your survival skills. Test yourself out there. Don't take stuff you need. Take stuff you need. See how it works out. See how your kids react. See how you work together, what their
Yes.
skills are as a family. Get to know the situations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
Eli is no stranger to a handsaw, like the kind you just kind of put in your hands like this, and he's not. And starting fire, I showed him how to just basically make a feather stick and strike flint until he got the fire. Like you, and this is something like if you're a father and you got a young kid, they are fascinated by this. I mean, I put the video out there on my social media of Eli striking his first fire. Oh my God! Like
even a magnifying glass.
I've seen people do that, but well, burning ants, obviously. But anyway, all right, Charlene.
Here's what I suggest. Let's talk about this behind, outside of this about when we want to do this next, and maybe a day or two before we schedule this, ask your listeners to post any questions that they might have.
Sure.
You're right. There are so many moving parts, and what I do for myself might not be what you would do, and what you would do might not be what Dan would do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about all the different possibilities and all of those different moving parts, and ask the questions to make this real, to make this something that you can actually accomplish.
Yeah, I agree. And again, the folks that would listen to me, they're a hardy bunch of folks. But I guarantee you, and I'm just going to tell you, some of you folks are going to fail this thing. And it's not a bad thing. It is not a bad. Again, I live out in the middle of nowhere. I consider myself pretty prepared, and I did not do as hot as I thought I would on several of these things. And I know how to start a fire. I don't need a match. So, and I got guns and bullets and all of that, and I didn't do so hot. So, don't feel bad. We're gonna make this a thing. We're gonna take this quiz. I'm gonna take it again. We're going to take this quiz. We're going to load it up with questions for Charlene. We're going to bring her back, and we're going to go for an hour because, again, I'm looking at all of these slides, and I did this when we spoke. When was it? Like a day or two ago?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is a lot of information. So,
well, between now and then,
yeah.
Everybody go download the 3-day worksheet that's on my website, and get your 72-hour kit. So at least that's out of the way. And then we can move on to the next steps.
Yeah, you want that 72-hour kit. You can call it some people call it a bob, a bug out bag, a ready bag, a truck bag, a go bag, that sort of thing, or a bug in bag like I do. Like my bag in my truck is to get back here. That's what its main purpose is to protect me wherever I am, to get back to my truck and to get back here. And we can talk about that also, on the future show. But anyway, Charlene, I'm glad that you were here for the little time that you were, and I look forward to us talking again and doing this whole thing because I love it. I love it. Dan, thank you, man, for just giving me like a sounding board. Like Dan is here and he's like shaking his head. He's calming me down a little bit. But thanks, brother, for giving me a couple of hours anyway.
It's hard to get a word in with you,
Kind of makes me me. I am Leon Francis. This is Blackbeard Logic. We are on the Guns and the 701 Network. I want to thank my guests. Thank the listeners and the viewers. Thank you for all of the comments, and we will see you. God bless. I'll see you next Friday. Charlene and I are going to hash out the details, and I'll put that on my social media when we're going to do this show, and then we're gonna chop it up for about an hour on just being prepared. And I know it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show. So, God bless. Good night.